In this video, I'm going to talk through the processes of managing your Outreach website. Throughout the duration of this video, I'm going to flick between a couple of tabs I have open in my browser. I've got the content management system open in this tab, and I'll flick over and look at the website in this second tab as well. The first thing I'm going to do is log in to the content management system. You'll hear me referring to it as a CMS, which essentially stands for Content Management System. And to log in, just use your email address and password that has been set up in the system. So once you log in, the first thing you see is the dashboard, which is a set of quick links into the key elements that you can manage within the admin system. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to run through everything in the left-hand menu here, just to give a thorough introduction into how everything comes together. So let's go into the homepage section. So this allows us to manage and edit the content on the homepage of the website. And you will see we have the main strapline, we can set slideshow images, we can pick featured activities and resources, and we also have metadata over on the right-hand side. For those who don't know, metadata is a set of text descriptions that sit behind the website, and it helps things like Google just understand a little bit more about the web page, which is all about aiding people finding your website using Google search. And you will see the metadata options throughout the site for each page that you're editing. So coming back to the website itself, you can see we have our big image behind, which makes up the slideshow. We have our strapline, we have our featured activities, and down towards the bottom we have featured resources as well. So I'll just go through the process of updating all of this. So if I want to change the strapline, literally we just come into the text box and do that. I'm going to change the strapline, and you'll see the slideshow is saying no images, yet we have one there, and that's simply because it's using the default image for the homepage. But if we want to override that and add our own image, we can do. We simply press add another. We find an image we want to upload. I think I'll choose that one. And you'll see the progress bar just pop up there as the image uploads. Every time you upload an image in the CMS, you'll be asked for a text description. And that's really just to help the web browser understand what the nature of the image is. It's all about accessibility. So if we call this one Science Students, I'm going to add a second image. And I'll add this one here. If we just wait a second while the image uploads. And there we go, that's the image uploaded. Again, just give this a title. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to press publish. Come back to the website and refresh. And what we will see is that we have our one of the new images that we uploaded, and this will fade into the second, and this will scroll through however many images you choose to upload into this slideshow. Back into the home page, and what you will see within the slideshow is we have these little arrow images, and wherever you see these in the CMS, it just means you can reorder the content. So if we want to drag and have this image of 2 students appear first, we literally do that, scroll down, press publish, come back to the website and refresh, and that will be the image that appears first, and that will now fade into the other science image. Similarly, if we want to delete images, we literally just come in, press the crosses, and just remember to press publish again, and that will then update the website and revert back to using that default image that we have in the system. If we want to change the featured activities we have on the homepage, we literally just use this pick box. You will see that it actually won't let you select 4, you can only select 3, so we have to unselect one and select another one. And again, for featured resources, if we actually choose we don't want that one but we want this one, again we can, and it won't let you select more than 4. So we press publish, come back to the home page and refresh, and we can now see I think it was science. Yeah, we no longer show science taste today because that's now gone. Still in the system, but just not promoted on the homepage as a featured activity. Regarding the metadata, so if I put in a descriptive title for this page, that's actually not very descriptive, but for the purpose of this test, I'll just show you actually how that works. For the purpose of this test, I'll just show you actually how that works. Meta keywords are separated by commas, so it's just a set of short phrases that identify the content on this page. So I'll just do a couple there. And a description is really about it's a sentence or maybe two sentences just explaining the nature of the content. For now, that will do. So I'm just going to come down to the bottom and press publish. Back to the website and refresh. And you can see right at the top in the title bar, it's now picking up this meta title. So that is what we typed in, and that is also saved behind the scenes, so things like Google can understand the content of the page as well. The keywords and the description, you won't actually see those in the website. They're all underlying behind the scenes, again, like I said earlier, just to help things like Google find your content better. So what we're going to do now, we're going to come into the activities section, and I will do the same on the website as well. So on the website, you'll see we have our filters on the left-hand side, and we have our list of activities as the main section of the page. So similarly, in the CMS, we can list our activities. You'll see here we have these little arrows which allow us to reorder the content. So if I decide I'd like to put Science Taste Today first, we just drag that up to the top, and we just get this little prompt saying, you've reordered the list, would you like to save it? Well, yes please. So if we come back and we refresh the page, we will see that Science Taste Today now appears first in the list. Just a couple of things around the activity section. We can add categories, and we can also change the name of this section altogether. If we'd like this to be called Activities and Events, well, we can do that. We just come into Settings, say Activities and Events. There we go. And press Publish. And you'll see everywhere, whether it's in the CMS or actually on the website itself, this change will now be reflected. So if I just see the main navigation now says Activities and Events, we can click on that in the same section, but the naming is just as you edited it in the content management system. Within that settings page, you will also see you're asked if you'd like to have a drop-down menu for the activity section, and that's just a way of giving people quick access to filter some of the content. So if we say yes, we'd like a drop-down menu of all the type categories. We select that option, press publish, come back to the website and refresh, and you'll see now I can hover over and we get the options from anywhere in the site. So if we were on the home page, we could hover over and choose to click on one of these options. So we're now looking at all on-campus activities within this section. So talking about categories, we can edit and manage those as well. So we just click on the categories option on the left-hand side. And currently we have two types of categories in the system. We have type and we have age range. You can add as many as you want, but all I would suggest is keep it to a small number because you don't want to give people too many options, which will just avoid them getting a little bit muddled. So if we add a new type of category, and we'll call this one subject. If you want, you can give it a description to help people understand what it is. Then we just add our subcategories into subject. So we can have one called arts and design, one called business, one called languages, if I can spell correctly, one called STEM, but you get the idea. You can add as many as you want, and again you can reorder these into the order that you think. You can keep them alphabetically if you want, or you can do whatever you want. And if you decide you want to delete one, then sure, let's get rid of languages, and we're going to publish that. So if I just come back to the main list of activities, if we click into this top one, Science Taster Days, you can see what this is all the content we have for managing this activity. So we can give it a title, we can give it an image, we can set the date and time of this activity. If this activity isn't date and time specific, we just check this box and say don't show a date and time. We can choose what call to action to have on the activity, whether people register interest, they book tickets, And then again, coming down the bottom of the page, we have a location if relevant, and we have the content. So I'll cover that in a bit more detail in a second. But first what I'll do, I'm going to click on this Science Taster Day just to have a look at the activity page. So we have our big image, we have our title, we have the relevant institution, we have our content. Then over on the right hand side, we just have the different things that you added. We have the date and time, we have the categories and the location. So coming back, we can change the title, we can change the image. Let's say actually we'd like this activity to be an afternoon activity, so it starts at 2 p.m. rather than in the morning. If we'd like to have a register interest button, location's already there. Recipient email address is just when people register their interest on this page, it will come through to that email address, and this is private, this won't be shown on the website. There's an option here to create an alert box, and that's just if you want to create a simple message to tell people something about that activity, like event is full, priority given to local schools. It's up to you what you can say here, but let's say priority given to local schools. And then down the bottom, this is where we add our web page content. Now, there's options here to add text, images, image gallery, files, videos, a map, an email form, or your own custom code if you want to. So at the moment in the page, there is just some text, which is denoted by this icon here. If we just click to expand, we get this little text box. With these options you've probably seen in many places before. We can manage the style of this text with bold, italics, underlines. We can set paragraphs and headings. We can create lists and links all within this copy here. And then we have our other options here as well. So I'm just going to press publish for now, and I'm going to come back to the page. And just to show you that now this alert box that we added is now in here. And we now have a register interest button because we checked that option. And what that does, that just allows people to send you a little request saying they're interested in how many people are going to be coming. For instance, if I press on that, they get a little form pops up, and it just tells them some key things that they have to enter. So if I just close that for now. So back into the CMS, and for this page, we're going to come right down to the bottom, and we're going to look a little bit at these options for adding additional content to the page. You can see we already have some text in here. If we'd like to add an email form, for instance, if we want people to be able to contact us about this activity, we just click on the email icon. We give it a title. Please email for more information. And then just put a recipient email address for this form. And again, as before, this stays private. We can hide that up. And again, you see these icons here. If we choose to reorder, we can, or choose to delete. But I'm just going to press publish. Come back to the page and refresh. We changed this to 2 p.m. You will see down on the right hand side here, we've got our text and we've got our email form. That's just asking people to fill in a few fields to request some more information. Coming back into the CMS, on the right hand side, we can choose to set which categories this activity belongs to. So it's currently set to on campus. Just for testing purposes, we can check a couple more. We can come down and say, actually, this is a STEM event. This is the new category we added a second ago. And we can say it's organised by the University of Bath. As you add more network partners into the system, they will appear in this list, so you can check multiple organisations if relevant. And again, we have metadata, as we saw when we looked at the home page, so you can set a title, keywords, and description for this page. I'm going to come down and I'm going to press publish, come back to the page and refresh, and we will now see on the right hand side that we can see this activity now belongs to more categories. So it's in more types, and it's also in the subject STEM as well. And then finally for this activity, just at the top here we have a registered interest area, which shows you how many people have registered interest. So when people complete that pop-up form, they're asked how many people they think might be coming. So this will update this sentence here, and then you can download the spreadsheet with all that live data for the different people who've requested interest in this particular activity. So coming back to the list of activities, and again, you'll see in the CMS here, you can filter this list of activities by the categories that you've already set up. So hopefully that's all quite straightforward. So resources. We're going to look at resources, and you'll see as we begin to go through this, there's a lot of similarity with how the content management system works. Once you've done it in one place, it's pretty much the same everywhere else you try it. So come back to the website, scroll up to the top and into the resources section. So as with activities and events, we could choose to rename this section if we want. We could choose to have a drop-down menu. I'll just leave that for now. We have categories, so we can choose to have as many categories as we want. Currently, we just have one called type. If I go back to the website, you can see here that these subcategories within type are being shown, so we can choose to refine this list of activities based on selecting these different options. I'm just going to clear all. But if we just come back to the list of resources themselves, and again, you can see we can reorder this list if we wanted to, or delete them. I'm going to come into Science Revision Helpers. We can change the title. We have a short description for all of the resources, and that is just to give an introduction to the resource on this first page before you click through and see the content in more detail. And again, you'll see there's an image showing here, and this is the default image for resources. You can choose to override that if you want. So if you want to upload an image, we have a science one here, so let's choose that. We'll just upload that again and you'll see the progress bar like before. There we go, that's the image uploaded. And again, with images, you can select whether when cropped, it will use the top, middle or bottom of this image. So in this page, let's say, okay, we've added some text. I'd quite like to add an image into this page as well. So I just click on the image icon and I browse to find my image, and this time I'm going to use this image of the two people at the whiteboard. So that's my image uploaded there, and I'm just going to give it a title. Working at the whiteboard, and you can set this image to be large or to be aligned left or right. If you choose left or right aligned, then the text will wrap around the image, but for now I'm going to keep it as large. And I'm going to just shrink that up. I'm going to add a little bit more text because I'd like some text to appear after the image. So rather than actually typing properly, excuse me while I just type a little bit of rubbish into the page, but you'll get the idea. Just wait for my browser to catch up. There we go. So now I'm going to press publish. So we're going to refresh this. And now what we see is, we'll see the default image is gone and it's now using our science image. We'll scroll down and we've got our text, we've got the image we uploaded with the explanation, and then we've got that gobbledygook text that I added as well. So coming back in, we're going to look at maybe changing some of the content in this page. So whilst having an image is nice, we might choose to have an image gallery instead, which just gives a few more options. It allows us to add a couple of images that slide left to right, which just, it can be a little bit more descriptive. So I'm going to click on the gallery option and give it a title. And I'm going to add a couple of images. I'm just going to use a few that I've already used before, so you'll probably get a little bit sick of these images, but it's the easiest thing to do. And excuse my typos. And I'm going to add another one. And again, as before, we can see these little drag icons. So if we want this image to appear first, we would just drag it up. And we can add more as well. I mean, you can add as many as you want. It's just really about being sensible. You don't want to throw too many images into the page just because it'll take a little bit longer for it to load. So we're going to slide this up. I'm going to delete this image I already had. And I'm going to move the gallery up so it appears second in this list. And I'm going to press publish. So coming back to the page, I'm going to reload, and as we scroll down, we'll be able to see that now instead of having the initial image, we now have our slideshow image, and it has, as you can see, slide left and right arrows. So if I just quickly come back in and look at some of the other content in this page, so perhaps I would actually quite like to have a file for somebody to download at this point as well, because in this instance we're talking about resources, so we might want to give a lesson plan or a PowerPoint file or something that's a little bit more descriptive. So let's choose the file option, and let's call this science lesson plan, and we just browse for a file. So you can put up any file that you want. I'm literally just going to find some test files that I have and upload one of them. Okay, and that's now uploaded. And let's upload a second, just because you can do as many as you want, so you're not restricted at all. Biology topics for GCSE. I'm going to upload, let's just choose the same file again, but essentially you could choose anything you want. Just shrink those up, press publish, and we're going to come back to the page and we're going to refresh. And what you'll see now, after the image gallery, after the text, we've now got our two download options for the two files that we've just chosen to add. Come back in, and again, as we saw in the activities on the right hand side, we can stipulate which categories these belong to, and we also have our metadata there as well. So, I mean, that pretty much covers resources. So let's come into network partners. So what I'm going to do on the website, I'm going to come into the network partners section, and what you'll see we have a sort of an introductory strapline. We have a map behind this with a button to see our locations, so I can click on that and view the map. We have some introductory text, and we have all the list of partners in the website. We've already got one added for the University of Bath, but let's just add another one just so we can understand the process. I should also say, as with the other previous sections, if we'd like to change network partners to be called something else, we can do that. Again, just click on settings, and we could call this partner institutions, for instance. Press publish, and again, everywhere it's now called partner institutions. Similarly, in the main navigation, we're called partner institutions as well. So we currently have one. We have the University of Bath. I'm going to add another one. My test institution. I'm going to browse for a logo. I think I've got some here. Let's see where we are. Okay, let's choose that one. We can add an address. Rather than me trying to guess what Sheffield Hallam University is, I'm just going to add our own office address here. Also, you can add multiple addresses. If you have multiple campuses that you'd like to show on the website, you can do that here. You would just literally press add another and add as many as you want, and they would all appear as points on the map on the actual section. As we've seen before, we can add slideshow images. If we choose not to, this will just use the default image, so I'm going to leave that blank for now. Web page content, we've seen this before. So what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to add a little bit of text. So here is my text. What I'll do, I'll also show you about a few of these options because we haven't looked at that yet. So if I just quickly type in a bit of rubbish, just to give us something to play with, and let's say here is a heading, and we're going to do a little bit more content there. So we can choose to say, okay, I'd actually quite like this to be a heading, so I'm going to choose header 3. I'd quite like this to link somewhere, so I'm going to click on the link icon, and let's say I'm going to link off to Google. I think that text is important, so I'd like that to be bold. And if I wanted to, I could also add a list as well, so just using the list icon, and it turns it into a bulleted list. So I think we've got everything there we want to. Oh, actually, on the right hand side here, we need to put in some additional details for the partner. So we need the website URL. So we need the email address. As you can see, I'm just typing in some test stuff for now. And we're going to come down and press publish. So I'm going to come back to the partner institutions page, and I'm going to reload. And what you will see now, we now have 2 points on this map. We have the one for the University of Bath, and we also have another point which is actually our office address, but it's pretending to be this test institution. I'm going to scroll down, and you can see these are now both using the default image. We have the new logo I've uploaded there. If I click through on this, we get the nice big image. We get the institution name, the web address, the logo, and all the content that we added with our heading, with our links, and with our bold. And on the right hand side, we get the map and we get the location that we entered. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to come back in and this time go into the University of Bath, because I think I have an image that I can use. So if we come down to the slideshow and press on upload an image, we should have a nice picture there of the University of Bath. So I'm going to choose that one, and the progress bar will just show that image uploading. Obviously I've chosen a big image, but here we go. Campus in the sun. There we go. I'm going to come down and I'm going to press publish. Come back and go back to all, and we will see that it's now showing this image that I've uploaded for the University of Bath, which is much nicer than my default image. I'm going to click in and we see that picture. And as with the home page, you can add multiple images here, and it will fade between them all. If I just come back into the University of Bath and decide I'd like to add a little bit more content, we've not looked at video yet, so let's say I'd like to add a video to this page. All we have to do is press the video icon and then just find the URL of the video we'd like to add from YouTube, come back in and we paste it in, and you see that the CMS goes off and finds that video on YouTube. This is just one, I think it's a high school student explaining the fourth dimension or something, so just one I'm testing with. As well as YouTube, you could put in a Vimeo video if you like. It's just another place where you can upload videos to. So if I just slide that up, come down and press publish, and I'm going to press refresh. And if we now scroll down, we can see that this video is now appearing on this page, and if we want to, we can play it as well.
Imagine that this folder is a dimensional plane.
Doesn't look that interesting, so we'll probably stop it there. But anyway, so that's us beginning to add a little bit more content into this page. I'm going to come back to the CMS, and as well as having the main partner institutions, we also have other partners, which just allow you to add other organizations who are part of the network, but perhaps don't need their own page on the website. They're literally represented by a logo and a link off to their own website. And you do that by coming into the other partners section. And we simply would choose to add another partner. So we'll look, add new. Let's just call this the local council. We find their logo. So I think I have, let's choose that one. And we'll put in their website. Obviously just a test website for now. And I will click publish. And we can have a few of these. So let's see, another partner. We will find their logo, and let's just choose any logo for now. Put in another website address and press publish. And again, you can see we have the reorder options here. So if we can choose to put one before the other, we can do that. Similarly, we can choose to rename that. So if other partners doesn't quite fit, if you want to call it something else, then sure, just press rename and you can change the name of that. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to refresh the partner institutions page. And so as well as having the main network partners we've looked at, we also have further down other partners. And this just allows us to have these logos which we can hover over and then link off to their websites. So I think that's just covered the network partners or the partner institutions page. So we're going to move down to news. So we can see we've already got a couple of dummy news articles in the site. So similarly, I'm going to come into news on the website, and we can see these two here. You can see one has an image and one doesn't, and that's your choice. Sometimes you might have an image for a news article and sometimes not. So let's add a new one. So we're going to give it a title. So this is a new news item, and let's choose to have an image. So why not? We've used it enough. Let's use that science image again. We're going to choose middle for cropping, and the date of article, so it defaults to today's date. If you want this news item to be held back until some point in the future, you would just give it a date in the future on the calendar, and you can give it a date in the past. It's up to you. It's just how it displays on the website. And then we have our content of the article. So obviously there's most likely going to be some text to this article. So excuse me while I just type in a lot of rubbish again. Maybe we may want to add an image. Let's say, for instance, we think it's important to add a map because we're talking about something location based. So we just click on the map icon, type in a postcode, and what you'll see that the CMS goes off and finds a map to plot into this page. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press publish on that, and you can see this is a new news item has appeared at the top of my list. I'm going to come back to the website and I'm going to refresh, and you can see now we have this new news item with a science image. I'm going to click on that. It's going to take us through to the content, to the image over here on the right, and you'll see the map that we added as well. So that's pretty much it. You don't get to reorder news items just because they're all about dates. So it's all ordered by the date on which it was posted on. Similarly with news, we can set the metadata for the page if we want to. We could change news to be called something else. So if you prefer it to be called blog, then you can equally come in here and rename that to something else, just as we'd seen elsewhere in the CMS. So now moving on to pages. So pages are the other sections of your website. So if we come back to the website, we'll see we have an about section and we have a contact section. So this is really just about managing the content within these pages. So if I come to about, at the moment we've just got some dummy content in a page called Our Network. So if we come back to the CMS, and you can see about has one subpage. So if we click on that, we can see, yep, there it is, it's called Our Network. If we want to add another page, maybe call it Our Team, we can do that. And again, we've seen all these icons before, but we'll look at them again. So let's say, okay, I'd like to add some text. So I'm going to do that. And you could think, actually, I've got this really good image of the team that we had taken last week. So I'd quite like to upload that photograph as well. So I'm going to choose image. I'm going to browse for that image. Unfortunately, I don't have a good image to use, so I'm back to one of my default images. So I'm going to upload that one. And I'm going to give it a title. Oh, sorry. Our great team. And this time I'm going to decide to have it, rather than having it large, I'm going to have it right aligned and small. So what I'd quite like that to come first, and then for my text to wrap around that. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to press publish, come back and refresh. And you can see we now have a new page down on the left hand side called Our Team. And we have our title, we have the text wrapping around the small image which is aligning to the right. We can, if we want to, also reorder this left-hand navigation. So Our Network comes first, followed by Our Team. If we want to swap that around and put Our Team first, which again, because we've been doing some reordering, we just have to be prompted to save that order. So yes, please. So Our Team now comes first. If we just come back and refresh, we will now see that our team is now top of this list on the left-hand side. And again, you can add as many subpages as you want. It's just, again, about being sensible about just what is the right amount of content to give your audience. So I should also say about, you can rename this section as well. So if you wanted it to be called About Us, for instance, you want it to be a little bit more personal, then sure, you can do that. Just press publish and you'll see it's updated here in the CMS. If we come back and we look at the main navigation, it's now updated here. It's called About Us, and the content's still the same. Nothing's changed. It's just how it's described on the website. So back in Pages, we have a contact section as well, which has one at the moment. It has one page called Get in Touch. Let's say we want to add an email form into this page because we want people to be able to contact you. So use our form to send a message, and then just put the recipient email address of this form. And I should say you can have multiple email addresses here, just separate with a comma, and so this form submission can go to multiple people. So I'm just going to press publish on that one, come back to the website, and I'm going to go into contact, and you'll see as I scroll down we have our text, and then we have this email form. So when somebody completes this, that will then send an email through to the person that was specified in that recipient email address. And within Pages, the last thing is legal info, and these are pages that appear in the footer of your website. So if we scroll down, we have a section called legal info, and this just gives you a place to talk about accessibility, cookies. If you want to add a privacy policy page or terms of use, you can do that here. You'll see that we've pre-filled this with content for accessibility and content for cookies, but it's all there in the content management system, so you can amend this, you can change it. It's just we have some content there for you by default. So that's pretty much us looked at the content of the website. We've been through all these main sections here. So what we now have, we have some kind of sort of setup features and the way you want things to work within the website separate to the content. So I'll just go through that now as well. So I'm going to come into setup. So this is where you can set the name of your website. You can decide whether the website is live or it's just displaying a holding page. You can choose to have a splash screen. You can set a link for your sign up to our newsletter, and you can put in schools. So when people come and they see the splash screen, it will pre-populate that drop-down list of schools that they can say that they belong to. So just to demonstrate some of this quickly, if we say actually we want to take the website away from being live and we want to display a holding page, we would just check that option, come down and press save. And what it then means is if anyone comes to the website, it's actually just on the holding page. All the navigation's gone, and it just means that it's saying coming soon. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to put that back to live. If we would like to display the splash screen to allow the website to gather data about who's actually coming to the site, we can select it to do that. So if we say, okay, whichever page the user visits first, we're going to prompt and ask them for some information about themselves. So we're going to come and press save. We're going to come back and we're going to refresh. So what we've got is this splash screen. It's saying just let us know what school you're from and who are you, teacher, student, parent or other. So in that school name, what we can pre-populate that list, so as people type it suggests some schools from the local area. And to do that, we come into setup and we add as many schools as you want, just each on a new line. So because I don't know many schools off the top of my head, I'm just going to add those 3 for now. And if I press save, I'm going to come back, I'm going to reload, and now as I begin to type into this box, it's suggesting which school I might be from. And it just makes things a little bit easier for people when they come here and they want to fill in a form. And it can say, who am I? Am I a teacher, a student, a parent or other? Well, for this instance, I'm going to say I'm a student and I'm going to enter the site. And now, because I've answered that, that pop-up won't appear for me again. It's remembered who I am. And all that kind of analytical data will feed into Google Analytics, so you can see the type of people that are coming to your website. So back into setup, we've also got an option here to link to your MailChimp newsletter database. Doesn't have to be MailChimp, it can be any other service. All you do is you pop in the URL. So this would be a URL that MailChimp will give you, which will take people off to your sign-up form where it asks for their name and their email address. So for now, just for test, I'll just pop it to there. I'll press save. I'm going to come back to the home page and I'm going to reload. And you see what we now have towards the bottom is this new bar. It says, get sent new and relevant activities by email, subscribe, and then that will then take them off to that URL that you put into the system. If you decide you don't want that anymore, you literally just come back in here, remove the link, press save, and that has now gone. You'll see it's no longer on the site. So that's the setup section, all quite straightforward. The menu, this just allows you to reorder the navigation across the top of your website. And if you decide, actually, I don't want a contact section, or I don't want an About Us section, you can choose to disable that. So I'm going to uncheck that. And I'm going to decide, actually, I'd quite like news to come first. Just remember to press save when you're prompted. I'm going to come to the website and I'm going to reload. And you'll see that About Us has gone. News is now first, simply because that's what we did when we were editing this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn all this back on. I'm going to check About. I'm going to move News down so it's second last, and I'm going to press save. So, feature box. You probably saw as we've been kind of scanning through the website that we have this feature box here. And this is set up to promote, well, it's set there, it's there to promote anything you want. In this instance, it's currently set to showcase career pilots. So people can link off to that. I mean, you can think of it as an advert, something you'd like to promote either within this website or somewhere else. It's really up to you how you use that. So within the CMS, you can choose to have this box switched on or not. So if we say, actually, I'd like to not have the box, you just check that option, come down and press save. If we now reload the home page, you'll see that box is now gone. You can also specify, if you have the box, which pages you want it to appear on, just the home page, or you can actually select every page there. It's entirely up to you. So now coming to users, this is where you can set up different people to come in and administrate the website. It's currently set up for us here at Float. You can add as many people from your network as you want, and simply click on the Add New. You enter their name, their email address, and a password, and then that's it. They can then log in. So for social media, you might have seen that at the bottom of the website. We have followers on Twitter because we've already got that linked up. If we look, we'll see we've got the address here of the University of Bath's Twitter feed. You can put in Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, and they will all appear as links along the bottom. If you would like to have something a little bit more integrated, you can have a box appear on pages in the site which shows your latest post on either Twitter or Facebook. And to do that here, you'd simply check the option. You need to make sure you have either a Facebook or a Twitter URL in the site already. Because we've got one for Twitter, we can just select that option, come down and press save. So if we come back to the website and we refresh, if we come back to the website and refresh, you'll see it's now pulling in the latest tweets from the University of Bath's Twitter account. And in this instance, it's a retweet of something to do with long-term earnings. So that's us looking at social media. Website analytics, this is where you can enter your own tracking code. If you want to paste your own analytics to look at how the website is being used, you can do that here. Just paste in your Google Analytics tracking code and that will start feeding into your analytics account. On the right hand side, if you've asked us to create bespoke monthly reports, this is where they'll appear, so you can download them from here. Sitemap, this is slightly more technical, but if you want your website, if the website is kind of hooked up to things like Google Webmaster Tools, which allows you to kind of really delve a little bit more into how the website is being used, it asks you to create an XML sitemap, which is just it's a full index of all the different pages in your site. So this is where you can get access to that. It gives you the URL of the sitemap, and if you want to see what it looks like, you literally just press on that button, and you can see it's all code, so it might not make sense to some people, but it's a full list of all the pages in your website. And then finally, down the bottom on the left-hand side, we have support. And this is where you can download the user guide and also watch this video. As you'll see, I'm making the video at the moment, so it's not there yet, but the video will appear here soon. And on the right-hand side, if you want to contact us with something more specific, then please give us a call, send us an email, and we'll do our best to help. So I think that's it. I think I've covered everything in the content management system, everything in the website. Yeah, over to you. Good luck, and we look forward to seeing your website once it's done. Thanks very much.